back to part 1.5. And yes, for some reason my phone turned off on me. I don't know why it does that. But yes. Anyways, let's continue. With then, of course, we go to the ambulance rushing towards the hospital and seeing that they're losing, with one of the people saying, "We're losing her, hurry!" With then, of course, Laura just holds the baby Izuku, right there. With then, instantly, of course, they make it to the hospital. But sadly, Inko doesn't survive. She died at the park. Sorry, no. At the place before, like I said. And then, pretty much, she was holding the baby. And it felt like the baby knew what happened to his mother. Because he was crying most of the time there. And also it started raining too, which had the best, pretty much showed the most effect of what happened. With then, of course, she just sits down on a chair, looking at a window where the other toddlers and children were, and she focuses on the baby that she was holding on her hands. She sees baby Izuku just sleeping peacefully. With, of course, Laura just looks down and sees that there's still a bit of blood on her. The blood of Inko Midoriya. With then instantly one of the doctors or nurses, whichever it is you want to think of, came up to her saying, "Ma'am, I think you should leave." With Laura saying, "Wait, the boy, does he have any family members left?" With, of course, the nurse or doctor says, "Hey, don't worry, ma'am. You shouldn't." With, of course, Laura saying, "I have to worry. Because if that child doesn't have any family left, please tell me." With, of course, the nurse or doctor saying, "Ma'am, if you want to know, the child is now an orphan." With Laura's shocked saying, "What? What?" With, of course, the nurse and the doctor just say and says, "The boy doesn't have any family left. He only had his mother. His father is, well, we don't know what happened to him. He's missing or either dead, sadly." With, of course, Laura just looks down. It's like her hair is overshadowing her eyes. With then, of course, she looks to her left and sees baby Izuku just sleeping. With Laura just looking at him, instantly he opens his eyes, and then let's say he was able to sit up, let's just say, and then he looks at Laura with those emerald eyes, full of curiosity, and that look that any child would give, that gives off such a pure essence. And at that moment, Laura knew that's something she would never regret. She turned around and told the two doctors saying, "I'm adopting him." At that point, both of the doctors were shocked saying, "Eh? What?" With pretty much, of course, we skip to when Laura gets out of the hospital. She was able to do the paperwork and everything. Of course, since she's technically 18, she's technically a legal adult, so yeah. Within instantly, Laura just goes out of the hospital, carrying baby Izuku. With then Izuku just doing like these little cute baby sounds, and like then pretty much just Laura just puts her finger in front of him. Of course, she was able to clean her hands first. With then Izuku's curiosity, just instantly, he grabs Laura's finger and tightly grabs it. And just by this action alone, Lara was head over heels for baby Izuku. It's like the motherly instincts becoming, were like actually happening. With then, of course, Laura just goes and just thinks, I'm gonna explain this to father and even the teacher. I'm gonna graduate soon. Laura, why did you do this, you stupid, silly girl? But then when she looks back down on Izuku, it's like at this point, she kind of forgot what she was thinking, and she kind of remembers why she did it. And she said, because this boy doesn't have anyone to go to. Just like I almost had no one there with me for a long time. Don't worry, little one. I'll be there to guide you, to be with you. Then we skip to when Lara went back home. Of course, there was a bit of argument happening from the teachers, and some of the teachers were having an argument with Lara, saying that she shouldn't like bring home like kids from like the street or babies that were abandoned or whatever, you know. With of course Lara pretty much backing up and saying that she wanted to, you know, fulfill a promise from a dead person's wish, you know, saying that, and pretty much explains that a woman died because of her, so she feels like she has to take responsibility for what happened. Of course, one of the students pretty much were watching the news and literally saw what happened, and then instantly see Laura with the baby, and pretty much of course, not all of the students were dumb and pretty much just calling Laura names and stuff, but some of them actually put it together and actually supported Lara's decision. Not all of them were on like her side, but some of them were. And some of the teachers also supported her, since she's technically already an adult. So of course, Lara won and was able to bring the child with her. There was thankfully there was no issues, and of course, since she has like the paperwork with her about her adopting Izuku and taking him to security, luckily she was able to. And of course, she was able to call her butler. I forgot his name. I'm very sorry what his name was. But pretty much she was able to call her butler and tell him about the good news about having an extra family member. Of course, the butler was confused and asks, Miss, what do you mean? With Laura saying, I'll explain it to you when I get back. And and the house is gonna get exciting if I do say so. But of course, we go back to the present, where Lara was waiting for her limbo. Wait, yes, no, I forgot what the car was, but pretty much her limo, not limbo, limo. And of course, the butler sees, and of course there was a driver and a butler. Actually, no, but you know what? It's just a regular car. Just a regular car with the butler just waiting outside the car. With then instantly, the butler sees that Lara is holding something with her other hand. With her, like, free hand, like carrying baby Izuku. He was asleep. With the butler saying, Miss, is that? With Lara saying, yes, the surprise that I was talking about. With, of course, the butler was surprised, yet not angry. And he actually wanted to ask, and he says, may I ask why, miss? And of course, Lara pretty much explained the whole situation, what happened with his real mother, and saying that she feels responsible for what happened to her, because she kind of made an incident happen because of her, and she felt responsible. And the wish from the woman that was dying, she felt like she wanted to grant it and take responsibility for her actions. With, of course, the butler gets closer to her and puts a hand on her shoulder, saying, young miss, that is one giant step that no one would be able to do. Actually, very little would be able to do. Taking a child is no easy feat, young madam, but if you say you want to do it, I shall support you. I shall be by your side and help you learn and show you how to take care of them. Just remember, it's not going to be easy. With, of course, Lara saying, I will. Of course, it was not easy. It was not easy at all. But yes, Lara did have some fun moments and, of course, tiring moments. Of course, she was mostly tired of waking up early, like at 3 in the morning, to, of course, feed Izuku. But of course, Izuku, besides that, Izuku was a very quiet child. He didn't make any noise. He looked very careful and everything. Of course, the father, uh, Lara's father, when he first noticed, was not happy. He even said to kick out the child. Which, of course, Lara kind of snapped at him, saying that, why would you kick out a child? A defenseless child. Would you have kicked me out if I was like this? If I had no home, nowhere to go, defenseless? Would you kick me out of here? Of course, let's just say Lara was able to win the argument. But the father said that he will not be part of the child's life because he's too busy at work. With, of course, Lara saying, of course, like you always are. With then, of course, a few years later, let's just skip to when Izuku turns 8. And remember, remember when I said before that I'm going to change the story a little bit. And so, pretty much, of course, Izuku was get taken to, no, actually, wait. Izuku was taken to, pretty much Izuku 10 years later. Yes, Izuku, 10 years later, pretty much, was, of course, taken through gymnastics, preschool, everything, with, of course, Izuku did kind of take up both, Lara's last name and, of course, his real mother's last name. Izuku Midoriya Croft, but he mostly just uses Izuku Croft for short. He knows, and by the way, he's a smart kid. He actually is very intelligent, and of course, he's for his age, he's like surprisingly like intelligent. And of course, Lara noticed this, and she says, "Wow, aren't you and really intelligent for your age, huh?" With, of course, she has fun moments with Izuku, sad moments, angry moments, and sometimes they do argue, but, you know, she still loves him as if he were her real son. Like if they were real mother and son. But then, of course, we go to when Lara goes to college. Of course, she wasn't able to go to college because, taking care of Izuku and also kind of like trying to balance most of the things to do. And of course, and you guys might be saying, why does Lara have to balance it? Yada yada yada. Let's just say it does, okay? Just for story reasons. And remember, the story is gonna be different from the original. So Lara is barely getting into college right now, and of course, she's still kind of like her own lonely place. And she does socialize a bit, but mostly when it has to be like group projects and stuff, And of course, she loves taking care of Izuku. Izuku's kind of like her little light. And when Izuku was told he was quirkless, she felt heartbroken. But for Izuku, it didn't affect him, which was odd. And pretty much Izuku said that he wanted to be like his grandfather, like looking for like some historical artifacts, stuff like that. An architect, if I remember what you call it. With, of course, Lara meets the same guy, not guy, same person, Sam. They become friends, and of course, during college, of course, Sam even meets Izuku, which Izuku was a bit shy because he was meeting someone new. And remember, has learned a lot of things thanks to the butler and, of course, Lara, like manners, etiquette, and even some self-defense, of course, because classes, of course, and gymnastics and parkour, etc., etc. You know the deal. With then, of course, Lara, and pretty much everything goes the same way as canon. And I'm just saying this because I don't know I don't know how I don't know how kind of most of the story goes. It's mostly I remember that Sam was mostly able to get her out of her like introverted shell. Yes, that's the best I can explain. But of course, same thing goes as happened for the first Tomb Raider like remade game, where they go to this expedition with Izuku saying that he wants to go to this expedition too, because he wanted to learn. And if I remember correctly, this is when they graduate, so it's like 4 years, with Izuku being 14. Yes, is 14. And of course, just to make this more interesting, UA, UA is going to be a college, pretty much. It's going to be a college that most heroes go to when they finish high school, or whatever it is. I don't, but yes, you get the idea. With, of course, Izuku goes with the whole entire crew. I forgot the name of the crew. I only know that Jonah was. No, was it Jonah? I think it was Jonah and Sam. And Kruger, the one that was the father figure for Lara, and also Lara's father, like suicide thing happened when Izuku was actually 9. Which Izuku was confused of why this happened. With, of course, Lara not understanding either. Everything pretty much happened. Same thing as canon. With then, of course, for Izuku, um, pretty much, kind of, yeah, same thing as kind of happens to everyone. With, of course, the ship being wrecked, the same thing as canon with Izuku. But first, let's go through what's happening when it happens. Everything was going nice, smooth sailing, with Izuku just reading a book about architecture and past and history. With, of course, Laura saying, "Hey, Izu, are you okay?" With Izuku just looking up saying, "Oh, yeah, Mom, I'm doing fine. What's up?" Izuku looks different. Izuku has this little necklace, and pretty much wears fingerless gloves. He also wears just this black T-shirt with blue jeans and running shoes, and that's it. And there's like this hoodie hanging on the locker. With Laura saying, "If you need anything, just holler, okay?" With Izuku saying, "Yeah, Mom, don't worry. I'll also ask Aunt Sam if there's also anything else too if you're too busy." With Laura saying, "Don't worry about it too much." With, of course, instantly going fine, everything goes fine. I don't remember most of the characters' names. Just please put them in the comments if any of you guys do. With instantly, everything wrong happens, and everything bad happens. With then, instantly, the ship literally breaks in half. With Laura looking for Izuku saying, "Izuku! Izuku!" Instantly, she hears the yells of Izuku saying, "Mom!" Laura goes to the edge of the ship where it was cut in half. With pretty much Izuku seeing her saying, "Mom!" With then instantly, Laura goes, and she literally, without thinking, jumps towards him. With Izuku reaching out for her hand. But sadly, he wasn't able to reach her. With Izuku saying, "Mom!" Everything goes the same way as canon. And of course, she goes underwater. And that's where I'm going to leave it off. Yes, it's very short, but I was kind of I wanted to leave it in a cliffhanger, you know? I hope you guys enjoy. I hope to see you guys next time. Have a good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. And also, please take care and be safe. Bye.